And what you're looking at right there is the Puffing Billy, which is the little kiddie train ride that was next to the whip. Took me a while to figure out how to do this. I ended up going with basically a flat track like you see there. The track itself was a combination of 3 strips of metal, the 2 rails and then the power track in between, tied together with ties all the way around. And obviously at this scale that wouldn't print. So I just chose to do a flat strip of track with little ridges on it, which you can barely see. And I figured out how to do the race part because it was a 2-level ride. The ride would start here at the station and go around like this, and then go up top, around, down, and then back to the station. So if you look at it this way, there are the little trestles under there to hold things up. And I made this in several pieces. And as you can see, these are all little separate parts, a little seesaw. And I'll glue these together when I get to Heritage Park. But for now, that worked out fine. Now for the trains were really nice. They were just single little steam locomotives. And they should look somewhat like this. And, there's a nice amount of detail on there. The only problem, of course, is when I print them at the scale I need to, none of that detail comes out. You end up with this, which is, pathetic. But again, at that scale, nobody's going to really see it. And I just need to paint those, and then those I'll pre-glue onto the track here. One on the top, one at the station, and then one coming around. And that'll do it for that. So the next thing I think I want to work on, since I'm starting to get used to working with track with elevation, is I'm going to try the Kiddie coaster. I already have the Kiddie coaster train that I've developed, and all I got to do is replicate that car 5 times and I've got the train. But I need to figure out how to do the track, which is a little more intricate than this. So back to the old drawing board. I figured out how to do the Kiddie coaster. So what I did here in Blender is I basically created almost like a water slide trough, because the structure was like a box structure for the track. And I subdivided each of these strips. So I started out with just this one here. So let me go over to here. And if I zoom in on this, you can see what I did is I just subdivided this so it has lots and lots of vertices in it. It's just a cube that I deformed. And then, since it has lots of vertices, I was able to do some fun things like add a curve and then match the track to the curve. So I was able to curve the track, and then simply by taking those vertices and then grabbing them. Here, let me demonstrate. I'll just go over here, and then I'll grab these, and then I'll go underneath. And I'll grab these. And now, make sure I have all the right ones there. Now, I'll go here and I'll rotate around, and I can then get my move tool and I can just pull this up and I can make a nice little curve. So it's actually not too difficult. So I'm creating this nice little replica of the track, and this will be the last stretch. Then I'll have to curve it around like I did over there and bring it back to the station. This is the station right here. And then the track shall be done, and I just have to put the supports underneath. And I'm just going to use cubes, and I'll tie the long cubes together into a sort of trapezoid and put them underneath all the way along. How it prints is going to be a whole other issue at that scale. If I print with supports, it's going to be a mess to clean up. So I'm going to try to print it without supports. If I just put enough of the trestles underneath, I might be able to get away with that. But that we'll find out. So, back to work. The Puffing Billy painting is coming along quite well. The big one is looking pretty good. We just have a few more gold accents to put on there, and then some gray in the bottom there on the floor. And there are little tiny ones over here coming along. And I've also gotten the Kiddie coaster track done. It took me a while to figure out how to do it. The Blender file, I had to make this ridiculously thick in order to get it to print at this scale. I've ordered myself a smaller nozzle for my Ender 3 3D printer to see if that helps extrude a little finer detail out of this. I have a 0.4 millimeter, I'm getting a 0.2 millimeter, so we'll see if that helps any. And this isn't too bad. I haven't been able to print the trains reliably though. That just comes out as a blob, so hopefully the new nozzle will help with that. So, but this is pretty good. The track isn't that thick, obviously, but I've got all the supports in there and the structures there. The original paint scheme on this, it had a sort of yellow on the box beam track, and then the supports, which really didn't look like this, they were much thinner and there were a lot fewer of them. They were alternating light green and light blue. So I'll do light green and light blue alternating supports. And for the track, the yellow just won't look right on here. I'm probably just going to do a silver, and I think that'll look a little better. Then I'll have to make the station for it, the roof, which is very much like the Kiddie station that I built, so that shouldn't be too hard to make. And then I'll have 2 more rides to add to Heritage Park. That may not look like much to you, but I am very excited about this. This is the trains for the coaster cars, for the Kiddie coaster. And what I found out is that by swapping out the nozzle on my Ender and making it a 0.2 millimeter instead of a 0.4 millimeter, I was actually able to get some decent enough detail in here to actually make it look like something more than just blobs of plastic. So that worked out well. Now a trick is going to be separating these from the raft around it and then painting them. But overall, this problem's been solved. All I need to do is use a finer nozzle for a lot of this stuff. All right, I finished the Kiddie roller coaster. There she blows. Not bad. Switching to that 0.2 millimeter nozzle was the perfect solution. That's helping me print a lot more accurately. And over here, the Puffing Billy is all finished and painted. So that's ready to go to Heritage Park. I also finished this one here, the large version. And not sure what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably give it to somebody. And I did try to print out the station. I designed and printed the station for the roller coaster, but the legs just didn't hold up. The minute I picked it up, the legs just broke off. So I'm probably going to have to figure out a different solution. Maybe go back to my old way of just making toothpicks and cardboard, and that'll probably work fine for the station. And then I have to figure out what I'm going to tackle next. Do I finish up Kiddie Land? I've got the Kiddie Ferris wheel to do, the Kiddie swings, the pony carts, the little auto cars. So I still have quite a few things to do there. Or I could start doing the big buildings like the dinosaur den, the pirate's den. So I'll figure that out and get back to you. So there is the Kiddie coaster and Puffing Billy all installed on the model. And that'll do it for this segment. Now I just got to figure out which area I'm going to tackle next.